So we're here at San Diego Comic-Con with the Hasbro brand team. Steve Evans, hello again, sir.
Well, one of them. Hey, Arnie, how you doing? Good to see you again, my friend.
So, how's con been for you?
It's been hot, and sweaty, and brilliant, and fun, and my voice is going. So it's as it always is. It's wicked time.
A lot of questions coming out of yesterday's panel. First of all, you guys kind of breezed over. You're doing some more play sets?
We're doing actually some down there. We've got our new Force Link Vandor 1 and Kessel Mine play sets, which is a little bit old school. We're doing it with a material I'm calling playboard, which is like a really thick kind of cardboard stock. $30 and $40, so a big expansive play set, very old school, reminiscent of the old Bespin Cloud City stuff. Comes with an exclusive figure, so yeah, giving them a go. Exclusive to Walmart and Target.
And you mentioned the Force Link 2.0, and that's been kind of something that's been difficult for people to get working. Do you have any updates on that?
I'm sorry. Yeah, all I can say on that one is keep making sure your firmware update is linked in and keep checking the app.
Okay. And with all the announcements yesterday, there were some figures found in Canada that you didn't talk about, the C-3PO and R2-D2 2-pack. Is that going to be coming stateside?
I don't have the exact information in terms of distribution on those, but yeah, I know we had some issues with people trying to catch my eye. Had some issues with obviously Toys R Us and things like that. So I don't have the details of that, but I know they're trying really hard to be able to get those things out for US.
And how is the team handling? You've got a 18-month break. You've been kind of having to play catch-up with each of the new movies.
Yeah.
You've got 18 months here. What kind of opportunities are you looking to capitalize on now that you've got some breathing space?
Not doing any work, probably just going on vacation for a year or something like that. No, it really is a question of, I actually really like it. Creatively, I can kind of dig a little bit deeper and get the team to kind of take a breath and have a look at the stuff that we haven't done, whether it's from original trilogies or previews, as I alluded to yesterday, and also solo. But equally, we've got Resistance coming up. We got some new Clone Wars. Clone Wars was re-announced, so there's always stuff to fill our time, Arnie, on that. So 18 months is it's a different type of process and atmosphere, which I actually like. I like mixing it up.
You also announced a new line of 6-inch figures that are going to be re-releases of old classic 6-inch figures, getting a chance for new collectors to get those again. But then it was mentioned that the Luke's going to have a new head. So how much are these going to be re-releases versus retools in this line? Because, you know, completists are going to now want to have both X-Wing Lukes, and then especially carded completists would already be in for all of them. But then for loose completists, are there going to be differences in the Bosk and the IG-88?
So let me clarify. So no differences in tooling. We are using the photoreal technique. So Luke will come with a new face deco application method. So the tooling will be the same. The sculpt will be the same. So no, the intention is not to retool, just to kind of reissue. It came. So I'm going to cough. Excuse me. Actually, you were there at New York Comic Con. We spoke about kind of greatest hits sort of thing, and that idea came from you guys and your listeners and viewers, and we were like, yeah, of course, let's do it. So. Yeah, no changes in the tooling.
So the photorealistic isn't a sculpting technique, it's a painting technique only?
Absolutely, yeah. The sculpts are always there, that's the thing. And like our sculpting department, you know, when people are hand painting stuff and doing tens and tens of thousands, there are little slip-ups and things, but the photoreal allows that to be much more of a process. Registration is much more accurate, and there's more consistency, which I think, well, I know is important, especially when people are buying stuff online and they don't get to see it. So yeah, it's amazing, the difference that just makes.
And then let's look at the vintage collection coming back again. One minutia question is you've got Dr. Aphra coming on her own card. Yep. It just has a classic Star Wars logo. Is that going to be the case?
Yes, it is. We had a long discussion with our counterparts at Lucasfilm, like how are we going to handle like comic book characters, Legends characters, and do we want to kind of add a motif or a signature onto that, and it kind of got a little messy. So we're like, you know what, we'll just. Star Wars will be the quintessential kind of catch-all for the ones that are sort of more unusual. That may change as we go through, but at the moment, yeah. So like I would expect Revan. I think we haven't done Revan packaging, but I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes Star Wars. I don't know whether we'll call it Legends. That may change next week. I don't know yet.
So then Episode 4 figures, would those just be Star Wars, or would those say A New Hope?
No, we'd keep those Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I know that it's been great with the new vintage figures. I've had no trouble finding Wave 1 at retail. It's been tremendous in that regard. But are you at all concerned, because I've heard a lot of reports that Wave 1 is still stocking a lot of places, that's going to hinder Wave 2 getting out there?
I don't know, personally don't know too much about that. I know that we the whole kind of waving issue for Vintage and Black Series has been something of a concern, and I know Joe and Patrick are working really hard to try and work that out. What we're doing in 19 for Black Series and for Vintage is doing less waves but more unique figures in each case. So very soon, towards the end of the year into 2019, gone will be the days where it's like, oh, there's 3 new figures, and then we fill the rest with repacks or carry forwards, as we call them. We'll get more new figures, so hopefully that'll ease that issue where you take the risk on one being one wave and it kind of just staying on the shelf.
So now to a more broad question. I've been covering you guys and talking with the Hasbro team for 13 years now, and I just remember having a lot of conversations about balancing the collector market with the kid market. Yeah. And lately, I really feel with HasLab and with the return of Vintage that you guys are focusing a lot more on the collector market and not as much spotlight being given on the 5 POA and the kid market. Do you feel like the focus at Hasbro behind the scenes is changed at all?
I think we align as we move through time, as we should do. We're a business, a strategic business. I wouldn't say necessarily it's more collector than kid. I tell you what we have done, and I'll ask you. I think we've engaged more with the collector and the fan. Much more open door, open discussions, taking the good, the bad, and the ugly comments. So I think there's more conversation and dialogue between us, which is great. I'm hoping you think, oh, there's more focus. That's absolutely the intention. But in terms of the number of products and the kind of the lines, I think they're pretty much the same. You could argue the bar is just one item, but that's an item. Like it's just like that's like a whole movement. So no, I think it's pretty much the same balance. But I'll take that as a compliment that you think there's more focus on collector stuff.
Yeah, and I definitely like some of the engagement things you mentioned, like putting out the list ahead of time with the black spots on knowing how many figures, and your Q&A on Instagram. Although I found it funny, you answered 3 questions like nothing. You got, 500 questions?
Oh, I know. At least I answered difficult ones, like the bubble and the varnish and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like, what's your favorite figure, Steve? So, yeah.
But then, to go back to the kids thing, what spawned that question is, Pablo Hidalgo with Lucasfilm. He posted a tweet that really got me thinking. He said he talked to a toy exec, no name of company or anything, that said kids these days view action figures as punishment toys because it's the toys that they're left to play with when you take away their iPads and they view action figures the way when I was growing up I viewed like hobby horses. And so as somebody on the professional side, what is your response to Pablo's statement?
Well, Pablo is totally entitled to his own statement, and yeah, we're in different times. We are. I mean, there's much more. There's video gaming, there's kind of online, all this kind of stuff, and it's up to us and up to me and my team to kind of react to that and kind of create new ideas and new innovations. I think there are things that will be perennial forever. A ball, it's not going anywhere. Now, a ball is the most simplest thing in the world, but you can do so many things with it. I believe action figures will always be that. They will have to evolve, and they are evolving. So I don't know whether it's punishment. I mean, I got 3 kids and they play with action figures and video games. So, but I see where he's coming from. I get it, and we just have to evolve. We just have to move, and that's that difference between kid and collector. Like they're very different. They are very different consumers and people that we have to deliver experiences for. And the interesting thing is when those kids start to become collectors. That's what interests me personally, like the fledgling kind of collectors, and you see a lot of them around here. That kid who got the barge yesterday, he's now hopefully going to be a fledgling collector. So it'll be interesting to see in like 20 years what they relate to and what makes them feel nostalgic about Star Wars, because I don't think it's going anywhere. But there we are.
Is that part of the reason why you have initiatives like Force Link and when you had the AR app with the previous ones trying to make action figures more electronic and work in that way and appeal to that market?
Yeah, and it's less about electronics. It's about kind of like experiences, like what do kids want, how do they want to engage and interact? So, they make their own noises. Do we want to give them the sound effects? We're always trying to kind of blend the stuff that kids tell us, and we do a hell of a lot of research with kids. We have our own fun lab that they come in and they play, and we watch them, we talk to them. So it's just a matter of trying to find out what they want in an environment in the world that's constantly changing. I was in Star Wars from 5 to 12, like that long, like 7 years. That's what I did. I was a Star Wars kid. Kids today, they're different. They have so many different things to do.
So my final question, I haven't seen Mark Boudreau around this convention, but I kind of consider the sail barge to be his Sistine Chapel. So how did he react when that got funded?
Mark is a beautiful man, and he was very emotional. I wouldn't say he cried, but he was close. There was big smiles, and I think he's him. He's an exceptionally humble man, and he probably is one of the names in the toy industry and within Star Wars, having worked on every single film. There's not many people on the planet that can say I've touched every single film of the Star Wars saga franchise, but. He was very, very pleased, and he's not here because he's working really hard on the barge and other things. But yeah, no, he's a wonderful man. It's an incredible honor for me personally just to kind of be working with him. When I sat down with him to design the Force Awakens Falcon, knowing that he designed the Falcon that I dreamt about when I was a kid and played with, it's amazing. Love him.
That is great. And is the yak face that comes with the barge still one of the rarest figures you've ever done, or because you shot over the mark so much, is it now like Comic-Con numbers?
I think I think it's pretty rare. I think the sort of like vintage collections like Salacious Crumb I know is pretty up there, but I think that one's going to be pretty rare. Probably the 8,810. Yeah, because I think it's going to be pretty rare. It's very special to me, that one in particular, and it's going to be VC000. So we're going to number it 000.
And the one that's coming out regular line is going to have a different number.
Yeah, it'll have the regular sequential number and the Return of the Jedi card back.
All right, well, Steve, thanks for your time. Thanks for the great show here, and have a good con.
Lovely to see you again. Until next time.